Welcome to Flourish, the podcast for faith-driven mompreneurs who are ready to release overwhelm, create sustainable, healthy habits, and build purpose-driven businesses aligned with their faith, family, and vision. I'm Stephanie Book, a transformational mindset, wellness, and business coach. I'm here to equip you with the tools, mindset shifts, and encouragement to help you flourish. If you're ready to grow a thriving life and business while staying aligned with your faith, purpose, and priorities, you're in the right place. You are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life. Success isn't just possible, it's meant for you. Let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome to Flourish. My name is Stephanie, and I'm so glad that you are here. I love being able to step in every single week and share a little bit what's on my heart and hopefully encourage you to move forward in the goals and dreams that you desire. Today, we're going to talk about new seasons, the whole month of April, kind of the idea of new seasons, stepping into the new, and we're in full force of spring now, and so, or at least we're in the first full couple weeks of spring, and that means warmer weather. And I don't want to talk about that every week, but you can tell my heart loves the sunshine, the warmth, and so I cannot be more excited to be able to say spring is here. But I thought about that as we were entering into this season of newness. When we have the spring, we step into changes that happen all around us. From the grass, like I've noticed where we're at, it's pretty brown and gray a lot of the winter. And when spring starts coming, even though it's pretty chilly and we have a lot more cold days than warm days, we actually get to start seeing some of the green start coming. And so over the last, I looking out my window, and over the last week or so, all of a sudden more green grass is coming and the brown is kind of fading away. The trees are starting to get some buds in there. I haven't really seen any flowers like in my yard or anything, but I'm sure they're starting to pop up places too. And so I love that idea of the newness in a new season. And that makes me think a lot about just life and how many seasons that we walk through and the changes that we stumble upon as we go through life. And I think we don't really always think of, there's some milestone changes, right? We think about, a child going to school for the first time. We think about them graduating, maybe a birthday or two that are big. I think maybe getting married. These are really big things. And then, you have your children graduating, they're getting married, and then, I think I already mentioned graduating, married, and then there's maybe the idea of transitioning to that empty nest stage, and then maybe retirement, right? I don't know. So there's all those different stages that we walk through in life, but there's also these little tiny times of transition and change that happen that we don't really think about or don't expect. And so over the last several weeks, I've talked about that a few weeks ago on the podcast, and my husband and I are in some prayer about a few decisions. And so we're in a season of change, of things, changing some things that we're doing, or maybe that's affecting our lives in different ways. And I was thinking about all the different transitions and ways that we've walked through our life. And I thought, well, that's kind of fitting, because it's really interesting that how many things that we walk through that we didn't expect or didn't plan for, that hit us anyhow. And so I thought, well, what would be a good thing to do is just talk through that a little bit and encourage you that, you're going to make it through all those different seasons, whether it feels like you're going to or not. So over the last year and a half or so, I've shared there's been a lot of different changes. Like my daughter went off to school, but not just school, but got an apartment and is staying off campus. And so now she's home very little. And she's kind of, one of my closest friends, like one of my best friends, my daughter is. And so we do a lot of things together. And so it was a really big transition. I'm excited for her, and I'm glad that she is, living her own life and creating new memories and new steps for herself and transitioning into new things for her. But that was a big transition, having her gone, my son has been in and out of the house. And so he kind of left onto his next adventure, and then my daughter left. And so it was strange because we had this quiet house. I don't love the idea of the word empty nest, because I don't feel like our nest isn't empty. We still have, my husband and I are still here, and there's a lot of love, and there's a lot of things that are going on here. It's just different, so I don't know, there should be a better name for that. And then the transition of bringing my mom into assisted living, and though she is still very independent in most ways. There are a lot of things that now I'm helping her with that I didn't expect. And I remember telling, as we were moving her into that transitioning her into that new home, I remember telling some people that, man, I think that I need to write a course or do something to help people to know what to expect, because I felt like all of a sudden I had to know all of these things, know about all these different things, know what to do and how to take it all on. And I had no clue, right? And I think that's a lot with life, right? We are just kind of thrown into life. As a parent, we might do some reading, but we're all of a sudden we are parents and we're responsible for tiny humans that we are just trying to figure out ourselves. We're still trying to grow and learn who we are, and then we're taking care of other children, And so we go through life in these different stages and transitions, and they're constantly happening. Things that are changing. Maybe you've done a move, and that's transitioned from one house to another, or maybe to a new neighborhood, or maybe to a new state. Husband and I, we've moved several different states. Ohio's been the longest we've been in since we've been married. And but we've moved quite a bit at times too from different states, and so there's lots of transitions, lots of ways to adjust and learn how to adapt to the new things. And new change is good. A lot of times it is, but sometimes it's hard. Sometimes that's not easy to navigate through, right? It feels lonely at times. You feel a little bit lost. Like I know with the whole transition of bringing my mom, moving her out of her home and into a new place, there was a lot of things to take care of that I didn't know, and ways that I see each day that now I step up more. I don't think any of us prepares you for that. You don't think about that when you're younger. You don't think about how you would someday maybe be parenting your parent in some ways. And that has been really difficult. And at one time I remember thinking I wanted to talk about, when I was looking at what I wanted to share, like in business, if I wanted to encourage more people. And I never in a million years would have thought, I would encourage people helping take care of their parents, reversing that role a little bit. I knew that I would talk about that, maybe that empty nest stage, because I was getting close to entering into that. But I don't know if that's exactly where I'm called, except that I do know that I want to talk about those transitions and how we can connect with the Lord and walk through these transitions and just trust that He will guide us through. Thankfully, you don't have to do it alone, that there's support all around us that can help us. And so I highly encourage you not to walk through these transitions alone, but to reach out for different helps. There's all kinds of books and things that will help you walk through it. You can ask for advice for somebody else that has gone through it. There's communities. I found when I was helping my mom, there was a few communities that would help with people with their aging parents, and there's some negativity on those, but there's also a lot of encouragement, people that had nobody else to turn to, but they're able to go and ask some questions and get some clarity on that, so there are places all around us. So I encourage you not to walk through these transitions alone, but step in and ask for help. And it's not easy to ask for help. I get it. You want to be able to do it all on your own, and it's not that easy. And there are some things that you do need to step in and do, but don't be afraid to ask for some support, ask for some prayer. If it's something that you need to do, and a lot of times it is something that maybe you need to overcome on your own, but you can still ask for prayer. You could ask for support, so have a friend check up on you and have that accountability. So when we walk through different things in our life, we want to make sure that we're looking at those opportunities that we can grow through those transitions, those new seasons. We could focus on all the stuff we don't like about it, but I think that one thing that helps us walk through it is when we get to look at the ways that we get to grow and learn and become more into who God wants us to be as we navigate those situations, as we call to Him and seek His guidance, and really just take each moment and seize it and celebrate what we can learn along the way. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" And I love that. We get to celebrate the beauty of a fresh start of something new. And, sometimes it's as easy, maybe to find like the fresh start or the new, but there usually is something. So yes, it was difficult to move my mom into a new place and to close up her home, but I get to celebrate, she's well cared for. She's in a place that she's safe. If she was to fall, someone is there around her. She's got other community. She's got other people that are around her all of the time. So that not only encourages her and gives her people around her, but then that also maybe takes a little burden off me to worry that she's not by herself too much, right? There's all those different things. Like there's transitions, they're difficult, and there's things that aren't maybe not exactly how we would choose them to be, but it allows us to open the opportunities for growth or for change. So what are some things that you can look for as you are stepping in these transitions to make a change, to look at things differently, or to see the growth possibilities that are around you. So with my daughter moving out, being at home without children living there, that gives us opportunities to plan day dates, right? Be able to say, hey, let's go together, let's get some coffee. And a few weeks ago we did that. We met. I can remember I was bringing her something, and it might have been, I don't know if it was some laundry she needed or something. No, I think she had was it a doctor's appointment? I don't remember. Regardless, we were getting together for a specific purpose, but we got together earlier and we got some coffee and just had some conversation and had a little sandwich and some coffee and enjoyed that time together. And then we went over and did a little bit of walk around Target and just had some fun time together. So when your children are adults and they move on to new things, you can look at those different things a little bit differently. Yes, do I miss having kiddos at home, maybe like at the Easter time, where you can do all the fun little activities that you might do with your little ones? It's very different to not do that, but you can plan some other outings, look for ways that you can connect together, or have them come over for a special, like, hey, let's do just a day in day. It's been a long time. Let's come and spend some time together. Hey friends, I want to make sure that you set your calendar April 21st to the 25th for my Reset Your Mindset Challenge. This week, we are going to do all things mindset to help you step into your business and life the way that you want to. I have been working on this for a while, and I have some exciting news when we're in that challenge to be able to share with you as well. So you don't want to miss it. This is going to be an absolute free challenge where we'll meet each day, through that week, and I'm going to be teaching a little bit about mindset, and then we'll have some interaction time where you get to put a few things into place while we're together, so that this challenge won't just be something you listen to, but something that you can implement as well. And so make sure you put reset in the comments, or message me at steph.book and DM me with reset, and I will give you the link so that you can register for free. This is something you're not going to want to miss, and I can't wait to see you on April 21st. So this might not make a lot of sense, jumping back into this part of the podcast. I got a phone call in the middle of recording, and I don't really know exactly where I left off, but I wanted to make sure that I am leaving you with some practical tips and ways that you can navigate through those transitions and things in life. So I want to, like we talked about, we want to make sure that we are embracing the growth that we'll have in this transition. Look at the ways that we get to grow into who we're becoming by going through these different transitions, whatever they are, whether it's starting a new job, moving to a new home, starting your own business, doing a podcast. I don't care what it is, starting a new hobby of some sort, where you have this transition, this change, this time of unknown. Look for the ways of opportunity for growth, and even challenge yourself and say, what can I do? What steps can I slowly take forward to be able to measure the progress that I'm taking? Another thing is, just surrendering your nerves, surrendering all the unknown to the Lord, and just ask Him for guidance and direction as you walk through it. Like I said, with my husband and I making some decisions in our life and some ways we want to move forward, it's not just a matter of this is the right and this is the wrong. And sometimes there are more than one right answer. Sometimes there's different paths that will bring you different direction. And so you really want to make sure that you're spending that time in prayer, seeking the Lord, asking Him for what He wants you to learn in this transition, how He wants you to move forward. Just spend time reading in His Word, making sure that He is part of of your journey through this transition and invite him in. Ask him for that comfort. Ask him to be with you as you're walking into those new rooms and those new experiences. And just he will give you the strength that you need. If you're relying on him, he's there. He's ready. His arms are open wide. He's ready to walk you through it and carry you through it. So just lean in him and trust. Take that step of the unknown. And I've talked about this before, where um, Indiana Jones, I don't even remember which movie it is, but he goes and he has to, there's a big, huge cavern and he has to take a step out in faith that there's going to be a bridge there. Otherwise, I mean, he could plummet to his death. And it's like not just to like tap it, like he has to actually take that step in. And so think about it that way. God wants us to fully surrender and trust him that he's got us. And that's super scary. But once we do, that pressure, it comes off of us and we feel lighter. We feel less, it doesn't mean it's easy, but it does feel easier. It feels more lighter because we're allowing the Lord to carry us through those transitions. And then maybe just look for different ways that you can nurture the different areas of growth. What is this transition? We talked about, how it can teach you or you can learn from things, but how has it physically affected you? How has it spiritually affected you? How has it mentally affected you? Take a look back and see, are there areas that maybe you're neglecting because this transition is difficult? And are there things that you could do to re-energize those things or implement some new habits or new routines to help you walk through that? When my mom was transitioning and we were doing all those different things, I was a hot mess. I was busy all of the time. And a lot of the things that really kept me fueled and ready to go, some of that stuff I'd put on the wayside. And sometimes, life happens and those things we push aside here or there. But I know that when I filled my cup up, when I put the time in to make sure that I was in his word, that I was fueling my body well, that I was drinking my water, I was moving my body. Those are the things that filled me back up and it actually allowed me to be more present. So what are the things that maybe are being neglected right now? What are the things that are okay to take a step away from? And what are the things that will actually fuel you ahead better if you do the things that are going to help you? Because I say that all the time, you can't pour from an empty cup. And walking through these transitions, it's really easy to like step out of all the things that are important to fill your cup up. And then you're not performing as well. And then the stress comes up higher and then you start feeling worse. And then you just want to resist it rather than embrace that change and the things that you're going to go through. So some way to do this, if maybe you're not in a transition stage right now and you're just like, this is not relating to me at all. There will be a time coming, so a fun thing I was reading, like this time of year, people are started thinking gardens and flowers and all those things as we're coming into spring. And it's really kind of fun to watch that process of something grow. I love when if you start from a seed and you plant it and then you water it and you nurture it the way that it needs to, you can eventually watch it grow and see what it comes from it. We're not all have green thumbs, but what a great way to be able to, maybe if you don't want to start from a seed, start from a small little, starter of some sort and then continue to water that and grow that and look at the changes that it has to go through. You think about how much, a seed, you put this little tiny seed in the ground and eventually it breaks down. It has to break apart the outer shell, so that the sprout can come out, and then it is going to rely on the soil and the sun and the water and all those things to give its nutrients so it can continue to start to sprout and grow. And then eventually it pops through the ground. And we forget about, the process that happens underneath the soil before it comes up and sees this beautiful flower or the plant that's providing nutrients for you later. So maybe plant some type of seed in kind of almost symbolism of the growth that you're going through. Think about as you water that, it reminds you to water your seeds, so to speak, water the things that you need to equip yourself to walk through these different seasons of transition. So it would be kind of a fun little challenge. I would love to see someone send in pictures of maybe a seed that you're planting or the type of seeds that you're going to plant planting and tag me on Instagram. Maybe I'll send out a special gift to somebody for doing that. But let's continue. Let's embrace growth together and do a fun activity, and let's plant a seed and watch it grow. And as we nurture that seed and watch it sprout, maybe it's going to be a tomato plant, maybe it's going to be your favorite flower. I don't know what you want to plant, but look at what you're going to be able to see, the life that is being grown through the obstacle, through those transitions that plant, that little tiny seed is making into becoming something even more beautiful and useful and greater. And it helps us show us that what's inside that little tiny seed, it's just like us. We need to sprout. We need that chance to walk through those transitions, walk through that growth so that we can blossom into who God wants us to be. And if we aren't planted, if we're not watering, if we're not stepping into the unknown and the scared and the transitions, then we're not going to be able to eventually sprout up and come into what God has created for us. So let's not stifle those transitions. We're going to go through them. So what can we do to embrace them and look at the excitement that we can gain or grow from, right? So I think that would be really fun. And then maybe look at from different ways that maybe you can maybe refresh your routines or even your relationships. If you're going through these new transitions, maybe your mornings look a lot different. I think that was something that was very different because at the time, for a while there, McKenna was working at a place, my daughter, and she for a while there, she was working super, super early. And so I would get up and make sure she was up just because, I was being kind. Maybe I was being over parenting. I don't know. But most of the time she was up, but I would set my alarm to make sure that she was up. And I would see her a little bit before she left. I didn't really do much for her, but I would see her. So I was up at 5:30 in the morning, and then she would go off and then I'd get on my day. But then eventually I didn't have to be up as early because she wasn't there anymore. And so I kind of transitioned my time, my waking time. Now I thought about getting back up at 5:30 because that, I enjoyed that quiet and morning time. But I also recognized that maybe I didn't have to wake up as early because my schedule doesn't, I don't need to be up that early to move on with my day. But then I saw myself going to the opposite end, transition, and maybe I'm like, oh, I don't need to really get up until later. And then I pulled away from some of those routines. So we're always wanting to adjust and adapt to the different things that we're going through. And so maybe I don't need to be up at, the alarm at 5:15, 5:30 to get up, but I'm able to set my alarm for a little bit later, take some extra time to sleep and then step into the routines, adjust the routine a little bit to what's going to work best for my life and where I'm at right now, but making it a priority to do those things so that I'm up in time to do the things that refresh my soul before I step in to do the things that I might be walking through, especially as we're walking through those transitions. So there's a lot of things we can talk about in entering into new seasons and those transitions, but this was just something that was on my heart because I know that I've walked through a lot of different transitions and I'm going to continue, and so will you. So how can you embrace those transitions that you're walking through? Look for those opportunities of growth and rely on the Lord to walk you through it, but then make those action steps to move toward what's going to be created by you stepping in with faith and action to make that transition a way of growth and opportunity for what's next. Well, I hope today was encouraging to you. I love being able to come with you each week and just share what I'm learning and hopefully inspire you to do the same. Just remember that you are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life. My friends, success is not just possible, it's meant for you. Take care. Thank you for joining me on Flourish. I hope today's episode left you feeling inspired and equipped to take your next step with confidence. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who needs this encouragement. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at steph.book and join our Facebook community of faith-driven women who are ready to flourish. Make sure to check out the show notes for all the ways we can connect and continue this journey of growth together. My friends, remember, you are worthy and capable of living a full and flourishing life. Success isn't just possible, it's meant for you. Take care.